Devindra Hardawar is the senior editor at Engadget and the co-host of the Engadget podcast. He's in Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome back, Devindra.
Hey, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I know you're getting set to do a podcast this week on DeepSeek. So I'm curious, first of all, your take and how you're going to frame this and the big story of the week.
I think my first take is everybody just calm down. You know, I think this thing launched
because there's
just a
panic
couple
and
days
chaos
ago.
and wow.
There's panic, yeah, and it's at the top of the App Store now on iOS. It's a thing that's really freaked out Silicon Valley because DeepSeek has managed to build this model much more cheaply. R1 is a new model that they just launched. They say it's competitive with OpenAI's best model. This thing, they say, was it took around $6 million of investment to actually train, compared to OpenAI's ChatGPT-4 or GPT-4 took $100 million. So there's a big difference in terms of investment that went into this. The hardware that went into it is much older, not as capable as like the stuff American companies are using. So everyone's freaking out. I think we do need to take a breath and really take a look at what's happening with this company and how it compares to everybody else.
Take a little bit, you use the technology, some of which was developed because the founder hoarded NVIDIA chips in the development of all of this. But you've tried it. From the performance standpoint, how does it compare to OpenGPT or the other AI models that we know?
Yeah, compared to OpenAI's latest model, it's really fast. You know, when you sign up for it at DeepSeek's website or using one of their apps, it's basically, it looks like a search box. You type in a query or you upload a picture and you can ask questions about a picture. And it's really fast. I asked it a question like, in my voice, review the very first iPhone, which is something I never got to do. And DeepSeek did that in about 5 seconds, gave me like 400 words that felt really readable and in my voice. And OpenAI did it, but it took around 15 to 20 seconds. So the performance certainly is faster with DeepSeek, and the text, the content is just as readable and just as good. So it's definitely more efficient. It's faster in many ways. In benchmarks that DeepSeek has talked about, it's beaten OpenAI and other models. So it works. It's not a complete lie here. Yeah.
So you're a bit of a believer, having tried it yourself and helping us understand
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still questions, and I'll get to some of those in a second. But what you just said helps us understand not just the cost of bringing this to market, but also, you know, why it set off such alarm bells in Silicon Valley. Donald Trump, the president, called it a wake-up call. I'm wondering how much you think it will undermine the American industry and whether it could even be the end of the American industry.
Yeah, I don't want to like go to the extreme and say this is the end of American AI, but American AI has been, you know, it's been in hypergrowth for the past couple of years. OpenAI as a company has raised hundreds of billions of dollars in funding. And, you know, the CEO, Sam Altman, has talked about needing trillions of dollars of funding to bring AI to the next level. And I think that was always unsustainable. It was never really a thing that was really possible. It was inevitable that we would see a model that is cheaper and more efficient and just easier to produce. And just so happened, like this one came from China. China, I believe, has produced around a third of the world's AI models at this point. So not super surprising. What is surprising is that this one is open source, so everybody can take a look at it. It is free to use, and you know, people can, since it's open source, you see the code, you can apply it in different ways freely, which you can't do with OpenAI's models.
Questions that you still have and that I think many people have. We've been focused of late on TikTok and the Chinese owner ByteDance. That's raised, of course, lots of questions about national security. Are there security and privacy concerns with this Chinese app?
Definitely. You know, if you sign up at DeepSeek's website or if you use their app, any data you're sending is going straight to servers in China. That's in the user agreement. They're not really hiding that. So just be aware of what you're sending. I wouldn't send sensitive information, your credit card number, things like that. If you want to play around with it, ask them, you know, simple questions. That's totally fine. There are ways to run DeepSeek's model on your computer and on your device. And all that stuff is happening locally. You're not sending data anywhere, so that's a safer way to use it. And American companies like Hugging Face and Perplexity are also using DeepSeek's model and giving you ways to access it without sending data over to China too, because they're running the model on their servers. So that's there are safer ways to do it. Just be careful of what you're doing when you're using DeepSeek's own app. Basically.
People watching our conversation, I might direct them to our website at CBC News because there's a piece about how when you input topics that are sensitive to Beijing, like Tiananmen or Taiwan, you get back different answers and information than you do if you're using ChatGPT, for example. So that's a topic for you and I for another conversation. I do want to conclude, though, by asking you something. We spoke exactly 1 year ago, just as 2024 was beginning, and you said 2024 really is the year of AI. Geoffrey Hinton won the Nobel, the godfather of AI, in 2024. Here we are with this bombshell story in the first month of 2025, and I'm wondering again what you think is in store.
To me, this year feels like the year of AI reckoning, sort of seeing where 2024 took us. Everybody was kind of worried because funding and the progress of AI models in the US was actually slowing down over the last few months, and people were seeing some sort of slowdown. This is the sort of thing, this is an evolution of this market that we kind of expected. We're going to see big leaps like this. We're going to see setbacks in the US, potentially setbacks in China. This is all an ongoing story. So we really can't come to any conclusions yet, except it's changing every day so quickly.
That must make your job pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And makes your podcast pretty interesting. We'll be tuning in this week when you have your DeepSeek podcast episode going up. Thanks so much, Devindra. Great to see you again, and I really appreciate your expertise.
Thank you so much.
Devindra Hardawar in Atlanta, and again, he's the co-host of the Engadget podcast.